What's going on, guys? H3 Music here, and in today's video I wanted to go over the plugins, programs, and software I use to make the music I make. Obviously the first thing is the DAW. I use FL Studio. I've used FL Studio for as long as I've been making music. The demo version I used for a majority of the time I've been producing. You couldn't save projects off, but I would suggest to anyone who's just starting out to check out the FL Studio demo version. It's a really great starter DAW. For drum kits, the only drum kits I've ever paid for are Kyle Beats drum kits. They're great kits. The other place I've been getting kits lately is in Reddit, r/drum kits. They've got everything there. You know, you can just look up an artist and someone has probably made a kit for them. That's where I've found kits specific to Aries, to Juice WRLD, to Drake. I found very specific kits for specific artists, and there's so many sounds on there. You'll be able to find whatever drums you need on there, trust me. For plugins, we'll start with the generator plugins. The big one I use is Keyscape. I use that for pianos, bells, guitarish things. They've got a bunch of vintage keys and all that good stuff. When it comes to orchestral stuff right now, I'm using Spitfire for everything. I got the word from Tommy Profit that that's what he uses a lot of, that and Berlin strings, but Berlin strings is way out of my league, so I'll stick with Spitfire. For the strings, brass, cinematic drums, woodwinds, all that stuff, I use Albion 1. It's got all that packaged into a nice plugin to work from. I also use Spitfire LCOD, pretty much atmospheric orchestral textures. Most of you guys who started following me because of NF would recognize it as the sort of weird orchestral noises you hear in the beginning of intro, intro 2, outro, all those sorts of songs. The other thing I just wanted to mention is Spitfire Labs. Spitfire Labs is the free alternative to all the previously mentioned plugins I use. They've got free bells, pads, pianos, atmospheric sounds, guitars, strings, you name it. It's not the same range or quality of instruments as the previous plugins, but I personally wish I would have found them sooner. Another massive plugin suggestion I got from Tommy was to check out Exhale by Output. If you're trying to find vocal stuff, this is the plugin to use. Pretty much all the weird vocal things in NF songs comes from here. I've heard it in EDM songs. It's everywhere. You've heard these sounds before. And for the effects, the plugin I use the most is RC20. This adds retro effects to instruments. I add a small bit of it to most of the main instruments I use, such as pianos. I throw it on samples a lot just to change it up a little bit so it doesn't sound exactly like the sample. It tries to mimic different effects from cassettes from vinyl in order to add a texture to the sounds you're working with. All the other effects I use are default FL Studio plugins such as the reverb, the compression, all that good stuff. For sample libraries, the biggest one I use is splice.com. Justin Stone introduced me to Splice about a year ago, and it has completely changed how I make music, and it's completely changed the quality of my music. Just the sheer volume of sounds and samples you can find on there is extraordinary, and my favorite part about them is they have a very easy system of searching for specific sounds. You're able to look up tagged words and go through them, filtering out sounds you don't want until you get exactly what you do want, which speeds up the process of beat making a ton. And yeah, those are all the plugins, programs, and software I use in order to run H3 Music. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.